Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo. I'm just providing my own music right now because the music's not loaded up. So we're just going to get a bit of Jurassic Park. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And then somehow we'll get a copyright strike for that. But anyway, right. So let's see how much of Critter we've lost. Let's see how much of Critter we've lost. How much did Critter lose today? Loads has gone. Okay, great. Everything we did has gone. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I was kind of the idea is there. I'm on the right track with the idea. Maybe the hair clay caused the crash. Yeah, the stream just could not handle the hair clay. The bit that really sucks is that we lose the lurkers, and lurkers are ridiculously important. Especially if they've got turbo. all lurkers are important. Okay, before someone shouts at me for that. Anyway, right, okay, we're back. We're back. We'll just have to start this bit again. And that's okay. We just have to live with it. Boreas. Hello, Boreas. How are you doing? How's it going? Should we get some music playing again? Right, there we go. Let's do that. What was I saying? What was I at? Wait, hang on. I wonder if I try and open up the thing from the other screen. I wonder if it'll go, hey, we've got a saved version of this. Might be too much to hope for. But we shall try. We shall try. Kofi badges. So it was this. Do you want to open the autosave file instead? Yes. Not too far. We've not lost too much. We've not lost too much at all. This is okay. This is okay. We've not lost too much. We've lost a line that was there, and we've lost the reshaping of these two things, but that's not too far behind. There we go. Sweet. Doesn't Critter have some sort of temp file you can restore? It does, and it restored the first two things. It restored these two, so it restored this wonderful blank page that apparently isn't being used for anything. It also restored this, and then wonderfully it did restore this, just not automatically. So we're okay. But it's not too bad, thanks. I'm all right, except for my PC seems to have a freezing issue, and I'm not entirely sure because this never happens when I'm not streaming. My PC never freezes when I'm not streaming, so it's something related to streaming. What I might do, if it keeps happening, if it keeps consistently happening, I might ditch the restreaming for a week. I might ditch the restreaming for a week and see if it's the restream thing. Though I'm pretty sure this has happened before I was doing restreaming, so I don't think it's that. But I've got to test it, haven't I? Anyway, right, what were we talking? So just because I could see where the stream froze. Like, fortunately, like there has been occasions where I've been like looking here, and I've just been talking and monologuing and looking up here, and I've not always noticed exactly when the stream freezes. Fortunately, I was putting this glove on, and so I saw where the stream froze, and I was like, So as I was putting the glove on, I actually was looking here and saw it freeze, and there was just me going in a very posed moment. Right, just before the stream froze, we were talking about. So the comment I was replying to was with Critical Role. Where was that up in the chat? Yeah, Critical Role is D&D at a very high level of quality, nothing like your average game, very entertaining. So that was the bit I was going to say was like that was probably one of the big pushbacks when I first started watching Critical Role and kind of getting into it. The people who didn't like it were critical, if you will, were critical of the fact that kind of like the Critical Role had kind of set the expectation of what a D&D game was from like here to up here, with a lot of like players not necessarily appreciating that someone who's in there like their living room doesn't have a full camera setup, a custom table. It doesn't have an entire group who are all voice actors when they're not playing D&D. And so I saw that was probably like, I think people who like told me they didn't like D&D, it wasn't because they really disliked the people. It was more to do with like the standard that was being set that they just couldn't compete with because they didn't have the setup that Critical Role had. And that's fair. That's fair. That's not crazy. Not crazy talk. So yeah, I get why some people didn't like Critical Role. As someone who's not played D&D, I have I really enjoyed by the end of campaign 1 I was very, very invested. And campaign 2 just felt like a bit of a, and this kind of comes back to what I was saying before, like it seemed like they needed time to get into it again. Like, I really did feel like they were starting from scratch, which I didn't super enjoy. And then, yeah, whatever, all the various bits of drama that have gone on in the background. Like with the guy, like, sorry, you said his name before, didn't you? Orion. Whatever happened with that guy, I kind of, without having watched all the episodes that I did watch, there is a seagull outside who must think everything I'm saying is absolutely hilarious. But anyway, like I didn't see everything, and I also didn't. And this is one of the other things: is like so many people will talk about these incidents and go, "Oh, but you must have seen what was going on social media." No, I'm also not going to go back in social media to find out. Like I don't care about this stuff enough to like be like, "Ooh, I must go and look at all the social media and everything." But what I did find interesting from my perspective was there was elements of the beginning of season 1 where I was like, this all feels a bit off. And then it was kind of like, oh, this is why it felt off, because everything was really weird. And then, yeah, so whatever the stuff is going on with, like, Ashley, whatever, I don't know if it's still going on, whatever went on with Ashley and her fiance is like what it is. I'm not going to go hunt it down, just something obviously happened. And I think the other weird thing is, like, the stuff that happened, whatever happened with Ashley didn't really, I don't feel like it impacted the show. Like, I don't know if it meant she spent some time away from the show, but equally, like, she spends quite a lot of time away from the show anyway. So if it did cause it to spend some time away from the show, I probably wouldn't have noticed. I'd probably, like, if I'd seen anything like that, I'd have been like, oh, she must be working. Kind of want this to be this is not going to work how I want it to work. I want to stretch this. I want to make this longer. I need... Hang on. Let's try this another way. But yeah, but I'm still way behind on everything. So I like the Sam, and that comes back to what we were saying at the beginning. Like the stuff that happened with Sam is like, you know, that's really sad and bad. But I had no inkling until that video came out, because I'm just nowhere near that where the show's up to have noticed that he wasn't there. But you know, really awesome to see that he appears to be kind of, well, I mean he was talking a lot about, you know, having to relearn how to speak and stuff, and he seemed to be doing really good. Like his voice seemed maybe a little bit more gravelly, is probably the way I'd describe it. But he seemed to be, if he's had to relearn how to speak from scratch, then he seems to be doing really well with it. So it was very sad to see him getting quite emotional about the whole thing, but also completely understandable for why he was getting emotional about the whole thing. So yeah, one thing I actually have started doing on YouTube, and I might start doing it with Critical Role, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube I've actually started watching at 1.5 times speed. I don't know how much I'll do that with Critical Role, but I might start doing it a bit with Critical Role to try and get through. And to be fair, I skip through some of their stuff anyway. Like, you know, when they're like, one thing I don't enjoy about the Critical Role stuff is when they're trying to have like their you know, when they're sleeping at night, and so someone has to stay on watch, and they usually stay on watch in pairs, and the cast always seems to have like something to discuss. Like it's when they try and have their heart-to-heart moments. I'm perfectly honest with you, I skip through so much of that stuff. I appreciate they're all voice actors, but I feel like they're not all brilliant at coming up with stuff on the spot. Like I don't know how good they are all as like voice actors when they've got scripts and stuff. By the fact that they do it for a living, I'm sure they must be pretty good. But in terms of how much some of them can ad-lib, I'm not all over that. So I do skip through a lot of their deeper meaningfuls, unless I can very obviously see that it's to do with the storyline. But even after, I don't know how many, do you know what, actually, I say that I'm not far into season 2. I think I'm up to episode 71. So I'm about halfway through. I'm not gelling with these characters like I did season 1. Season 1, I really kind of got into like the characters and who they were and what they were doing. Season 2, I'm not gelling with the characters. Though one thing I do like about season 2 is Talison's second character. I enjoy that character. Like, because I've sometimes found kind of like when Taliesin had like the Percy, was it Percy or Peter? Percy. When he had that character, it felt a little bit edgy. It felt a little bit too much like he was trying to be edgy with Percy. And while I kind of enjoyed it, it was also very clear that he kind of wanted to be the smart one. And then his first character in campaign 2 felt a bit too like it was trying to be smart, and I was like, I just don't need you doing this again. And so when he ended up with Caduceus, that was very much more like chilled out, I was like, yeah, this character's good. I'm glad that he's going with a chilled out character, because he's doing a chilled out character quite well. And her fiance worked on the show and hosted other bits. Yeah, so I kind of had an inkling of who her fiance is. I think he was the guy who did like the Talks Machina show, I think, if I understood correctly. I think that's who it was. But yeah, so I get how but I still see him in videos, and so I don't know. I was kind of like, I don't know if they try and like remove him, or maybe it's too hard to remove him from stuff, because you probably have to re-upload all the videos to do that. And anyway, but yeah, the drama stuff, I don't like. As the main takeaway from this whole thing was, a lot of the drama stuff passes me by because I'm coming to this stuff so late. That was like the main takeaway from all of that. Do I ever want to play? But yes, at some point I will play D&D. I don't know when. Like, I tried to organize a game. God damn, it's nearly 2 years ago now. And we were going to stream it. We were going to do like a little one shot on stream. And then my life got turned upside down. And I was like, I'd like to just take a minute, just sit right there. And then I never came back. I know that's not how the song goes, but that's how it happened for me. So that was very much on me. And by the time I was in a position to like get back to possibly doing that, not everyone who was going to be involved had some people had stopped streaming, some people had moved on to other things. So yeah, one day I'll probably do probably do some kind of D&D thing. I just don't know when. No particular plans right now to do one. I think one of the things I need to be able to do it is, like, my time at the moment is so split between doing work and trying to get things done for the channel, that I don't really have time for a D&D thing at the moment. That was part of kind of what I realized when I did the whole having to do all the moving and stuff, was I don't really have the time to do it at the moment. So if I ever get to a point, this is where it is in my brain. If I ever get to a point where I am doing this full time, I will absolutely do some D&D. But while I'm not doing this full time, it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky finding the time to do it. And I also realise it might help. It might help in the stuff I'm doing right now, like all the world building stuff that I'm doing right now. Actually, although the thing, see, this is one of the things though. Like, while I'm doing a lot of this like world building and creating this world, this world is not being created with the intention of it being something that you could do a TTRPG in. I suspect it will end up that way. Because I'm sure people will want to use it for that. But that's not entirely why I'm kind of like, I'm just enjoying making a world. And I don't know whether it would be a good thing to know more about how like TTRPGs work. Would that influence the way I try and create this world too much? So I think I want to make that longer. I think I want to make that longer. The spammable 10-second skip in YouTube is helpful. Oh, I don't even use the 10-second skip. I literally just drag. Because the thing is, like on the Critical Role stuff, when they're doing their deeper meaningfuls during watch bits, that stuff can go on for 20 minutes. So I generally I skip whole things. There's probably loads of stuff I've completely missed by skipping past really important bits. Ooh, no. Back. I say. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, no. Which one are you? You're that. I know it is you that needs pushing back. Is it just... Oh, sometimes when I use too small a brush, it doesn't know what I'm trying... There we go. There we go. Bigger brush. Bigger brush makes more sense. There we go. Marvellous. Marvellous. Right, so I want to... And I don't think this is going to... Oh, that's not going to work that way, is it? I need to do that. And then that I don't actually want stretching. I kind of want that bit stretching. I just want the tongs stretching. But then they go, yeah, they go that way, which I don't really... I might have to try and do... I don't think this is going to do what I want it to do. No. What about, instead of free, what if I try warp? It's just, it'd almost be easier just to start again, wouldn't it? It would just be easier to start again. I suppose this would get me half the way there. Yeah, okay. We out of advert? Yeah, okay, sorry. I wasn't ignoring anyone then. I was literally just conscious that I was trying to reply to people who were potentially watching adverts. No, deselect. Deselect. Deselect now. There we go. Okay. I can work with that, and that can... Yeah, I'll figure those out in a second. Sorry, yeah, Boreas. You're saying there'll always be slots for random one-shots, etc. in your D&D. If I'm ever in a position, I will give you a nudge. I'll definitely give you a nudge. And as I was saying, like when I'm saying like I haven't got time right now, I don't like it's not like I'm like if I'm gonna do a one shot. If I was doing a one shot on this channel, like forget about doing it on someone else's channel. If I was to do a one shot on this channel, I'd need to get someone to DM, because we had someone who was going to DM last time. Like I'm not going to DM because I bet I don't understand the game enough to play it, let alone to DM it. But it is, so it's like even just from the time of even trying to create a character and put that together, I've just not, at the moment, I've just not got the time. But it'll happen at some point, especially with the direction of where the art's gone on this channel. The likelihood of it not happening is pretty minimal. As I say, I need to not be doing as much freelancey bits so that I can kind of focus on it. This one is thicker than this one, isn't it? Or is it just because of the shine? Why? It's still thicker, isn't it? Just even bringing the shine more to the middle. Okay, so let's thicken this one out a bit. And then I'm still going to have it with like a rounded tip. And if that's let's do that. And who knows, if I do end up doing a one-shot, I think what might be kind of cool as well, if I was to end up doing a one-shot, would be if we used not necessarily the whole world that we're building here, but certainly I think it'd be kind of cool if we potentially use like one of the monsters. I think that would definitely be a motivation for me to do this. Which does mean I need to finish one of the monsters and get them to a polished state. Oh, do you know what though? Actually, that might be terrible. I just realised that might be a terrible idea, because then I'd know how to kill it. No, do you know what? Abandon that idea. Screw that idea. I've just realised it's terrible, because then I'd know what I'd know how the monster works. That'd be a rubbish way of doing it. What am I even thinking of? What am I even thinking of? This is terrible. Abandon that plan entirely. The DM's there going, oh well. As we approach the forest, you're made aware by local folk that there's potentially a tree that abducts people and then drains them of all their blood. Bearded, Bearded immediately burns down the entire forest. Wait, no, 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 no. No, this is how we deal with it. We burn down the entire forest. No, 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 no. You're meant to go adventuring. I'm not fucking going adventuring. That thing hypnotizes you. No. Go on, everyone. Get a bit of kindling. Burn down the whole forest. There we go. Adventure over. Hmm. So if that's going to end up like that, maybe, do, 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 do. Kind of like, I like the sweep I've given the scythe, but I think it might actually be too much of a sweep. I wonder if I can fix that with warp. If I was to bring that, oh no, oh no. Hold on. I was make it a bit straighter. Would that help? Would that help? And then I'll tidy it up after. Maybe. All right, let's tidy that. Yeah, okay. And then try and get that a bit more. A bit more like that. And let's hide that a second. Then if we bring... Hang on, and then where's the top of that? Top of that's there, so let's get rid of a bit of that. So that's kind of we're coming through there. Bottom of that. Still feel like that is not real. Well, I don't know if it is, but just the that all of this looks like it's been drawn in. I don't know if it's real or not. I'm presuming it is, because why would someone go through all of this effort to take this photo and then Photoshop in a blade? But something about that just doesn't look real. Anyway, back to chat. And sorry, yeah, Sawtooth, I saw you saying that you could DM it. Yeah, well, ideally, I would like to try and get the person who was going to do the DMing originally. However, the big thing is, like, this is not going to happen now. I gotta say, I've got too much on my plate right now to think about doing even like a one shot. In fact, you know, even more so than a one, because like the amount of like time I'd have to put into it for a single one-off almost feels like it wouldn't be worth it. So I'd kind of want to put the time in if I knew it was going to be a bit more than a one shot. So I will judge it. I'll judge it at the time of when I'm planning on doing it. You know, need to see who's around at that point. Who's going to be involved and stuff. Like the whole channel could have changed by then. So we'll see. But I say it's a way off. It's a way off for me anyway. For anyone who's super interested, in seeing live streamed D&D, you should go and look at Boreas's D&D channel, which I don't know if I have it. It's somewhere in my follower list. Unless if Boreas is here right now, then Boreas can just throw the link into chat straight away while I scroll through my follows. Oh no, there is. Explore and Beyond. There we go. Professional stream. There you go. For anyone who's super interested in live streamed D&D, you should go and look at that channel, because that's Boreas's D&D channel that he does with some other people, and they have a weekly D&D session. Ash, I've just seen you sneak into chat. Ash, we've got to have words. We've got to have words, Ash. Also, good morning. How you doing? Because I called you cute. No. It's to do with the movies that you redeemed. I need to find a way to like let everyone redeem movies except you. Right. Have we talked about? Did we? Like I know I've talked a bit about Weird Al on stream, but I don't know if you were here when I talked about Weird Al on stream. So we need to go back over that one potentially if you weren't here. He said Weird Al was weird. So Weird Al, I didn't entirely realise until in hindsight I should have, being that it was Weird Al. So Weird Al is a parody. Weird Al's biopic of his life is a parody of biopics. So it's filled with all kinds of nonsense, like the fact that he dates Madonna at one point. Also, to clarify, because it's a parody of what it's meant to be, I don't really feel like it's at risk of spoilers, because it's meant to be stupid and ridiculous. So, yeah, Weird Al, I watched it. I don't think I will ever watch it again. Not because I super disliked it. I just didn't. But equally, I don't think it was a great movie. I don't think it was great. Like, it didn't make me go, yeah, I'm so happy with this. Yeah, it was perfectly fine, and I think I would have enjoyed it way more if I'd been like sat with a mate who was like, you know, obviously like similar age to me, who was familiar with Weird Al. I think if anyone goes into that movie and doesn't know who Weird Al is, I think it's going to fall really flat. But I suppose if you don't know who Weird Al is, are you even going to watch it anyway? Like, would you even be inclined to watch it if you don't know who he is? So not an awful movie, just not great either. And I don't feel like it was. I don't think it was as funny. I feel like it's not as funny as maybe it thought it was. You know, because like I obviously come from like a time when when the music and the videos, and like the music and videos were all like great because they were, you know, they were parodies of stuff you were familiar with. But yeah, it was perfectly okay. Like I don't feel like I've entirely wasted my time watching Weird Al, but it's not something that I'm going to be like, hey, you all need to watch this right now, either. But anyway, right, the other movies. So what did we have? We had Society of the Snow. Society of the Snow. Right. My first comment on Society of the Snow was it was about an hour too long. That would be like my first. That would be my first bit. Is it was an hour too long. Like as the movie was on, I started skipping through it. I started skipping like big chunks. I suspect it was intentional that it was too long because they were trying to represent like these people who. So for anyone who doesn't know what Society of the Snow is, it's about in 1972, a bunch of people in a private a chartered plane. They're trying to go down to South America, and the plane crashes, and it crashes in the snow-capped mountains. And it's basically about these people and what happened to them. So it's a true story. Really weirdly, I don't know why. I don't know what. And this is one of these things, isn't it? Like, this is one of these things where someone clearly wrote a script for this movie, and it was rejected by. Like, you see this quite often. Like, if two movies come out at the same time that have really similar stories, what it typically means is someone's written a script, gone to a movie studio. The movie studio's rejected it for whatever reason, and they've decided to make their own version of it. That when you see two movies come out that are the same, that's why, you know, you got things like White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen, is because it was basically someone wrote that and then had some disagreements and took their story elsewhere while the studio decided to get a different writer in. But anyway, so Society of the Snow is about these guys who crash in the mountains and the fact that they're stranded from anyone, and what happens to them while they're stranded in the mountains. The problem is nothing. Nothing really happens to them in the mountains. They just slowly run out of food, and I don't feel like this is spoilers because it's a true story, so I suspect most people know about it. They end up eating the dead. And yeah, and then eventually some of them end up trekking out. And kind of the worst part of kind of like the people who trek out is they kind of realize that they weren't that far from civilization, and so they've kind of been hanging out on this plane. They've been hanging out by the plane, thinking that they were in the absolute middle of nowhere. And when two of them decide to trek out, basically two of them go, "We're going to die here," or we just try and trek out and we die en route, but at least we tried to get away. And yeah, I feel like it was an hour too long. It was, I think the whole movie was something like 2 hours 20 minutes, and there was so much of that movie was just people sat in silence around the plane, not doing anything. And I appreciate that in reality that is what they will have done. I get that that's what they will have done, but for a movie it's not really interesting. And then you've got the people who are like going, "Oh, we can't eat the dead. This isn't, you know, you can't do that. It's a terrible thing." And then there's people who eventually just everyone breaks, and you kind of get that everyone is eventually going to break, and eventually they're going to eat or they're going to die. But they do that over and over again. Like we have that scene over and over again of people who said they wouldn't eat the dead eventually breaking and going, "I'm going to eat the dead." And again, I appreciate that's probably how it happened. But that's not very interesting to watch when it's the exact same thing repeated over and over again. So yeah, I can't recommend Society of the Snow. I think it was a bit weak in terms of a movie. I would say, like, one thing that I would say is I don't know if it necessarily is a positive thing. But holy crap, the plane crash in that movie, they did not pull any punches. And the plane crash, and the thing was, because obviously the plane crash happens quite early in the movie, still happens half an hour in. Like, this gives you an idea of how much wasted time there was in this movie. Half an hour in is the plane crash. Like, Um, and you know, I'm sure someone would want to type and go, well, the first half an hour was you getting to know all the people and getting to be interested. You didn't learn anything about them in the first half an hour. It wasn't like the first half an hour was you super learning about these people and their lives. The first half an hour was them just going, hey, you coming down? I think it's Brazil. They're going to. Hey, you coming to Brazil? Is your sister coming to Brazil? Is your brother coming to Brazil? Have you spoken to such and such person about coming to Brazil? Like, you don't really learn about any of the characters. You just kind of go this, but a little bit like if we were to use a superhero type thing, bit like with DC, how DC goes, hey, this superhero's here now. Do I get to learn anything about the superhero? No. I'm just telling you that they're here. That's basically what the first half hour of the movie is. So there's a lot of wasted time in the movie, which doesn't help its case. So yeah, not a great movie. Not a great movie. I can't recommend anyone kind of like use their time on that. However, if you are given a choice, right? We've talked about the Weird Al movie. Let's mark that as complete. We've talked about Society. So that's my thing of Society of the Snow. I don't recommend it. I think it's I don't think it's very well made. Except for a couple of bits. Like I'd say, like the plane crash was like you were sat there going, oh my god, that is horrendous. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend Society of the Snow unless your only alternative to Society of Snow is the Zone of Interest. Now, if the Zone of Interest is like you're told you either get to watch one of the two, go watch Society of the Snow. Because Zone of Interest, so for anyone who's not aware of what Zone of Interest is, Zone of Interest is about a family who are Nazis, and it's about them trying to lead a normal life while the father is in charge of one of the camps. We're not going to get super into detail on that because I know some people probably don't want to talk about that. But the father is in charge of one of the camps during World War II, and it's about his family trying to have a normal life while that's going on, literally beyond the garden wall of their home. The first 4 minutes of this movie was noise. Was a black screen of noise, of just music. Like, not even, I want to say music, but it wasn't. It was more just, I'm going to call it ominous noise. I don't really want to call it music. It was just the first, and I timed it because I was like, is this movie started? Is my screen broken? And yeah, the first 4 minutes are just ominous noise. And then you kind of get to see this guy's family and the short version of this movie review is don't watch it. It's boring as fuck. The long version of this is I ended up turning it off. I started skipping through the movie in the hopes of finding out, does this ever actually kind of like ramp up? Does it ever get any more interesting? And even skipping through some of the movie, no, nothing really happens. Yeah, Zone of Interest is a very boring movie. I don't really know what it was trying to do. Like, I can't really work out what the actual intent of that movie was. It's not even a case of like they're, like you're trying to explore, maybe are they struggling with what they're doing? Are they having any kind of like moral dilemmas? Like, do we explore the mentality of why they feel they should be doing what they're doing? I didn't get any of that. It was literally a guy going through his day job. Very, very kind of robotic like. I think there was a bit like about his daughter. I think it was his daughter, who didn't necessarily agree with what they were doing. And so I think she was trying to help people escape. But from what I saw in the movie, she never actually kind of like seemed to speak to anyone. It was... Yeah, I didn't think it was... The movie failed to hook me in. And considering I was watching it to do a review of, I really did try to stick with it. But it fell flat for me. It just fell flat, and I was skipping through it a lot. And then when I couldn't find any meaningful bits in the skipping through, I kind of gave up on it. So I couldn't tell you whether the movie's too long because I didn't watch the whole movie. So Zone of Interest is a big no from me, because I just didn't see it deliver. Like, I presume it was trying to deliver a message. But if it was trying to deliver a message, then it got lost in the post. I didn't rate it. So there's that one. So that's my review of that. Poor Bearded being traumatized by Ash's movies. Not really traumatized, just they weren't great movies. But arguably this works in Ash's favor, because I'm hoping Ash requested I watch these movies so that he knows whether there's actually any point in him wasting his time watching them. Because if that's what he's done, then he's done really well, because now he knows there's no point wasting his time watching those movies. Also, hello, Dan. Oh, Dan, you might enjoy something that I sent to Barely at the weekend. Being that you're here. When you think it's broken, your first response is to record it. What? But anyway, right, yeah. The thing. So this is very much like for Dan. Really, I appreciate not everyone's going to care about this. At the weekend, I was watching some stuff. In regards to Warhammer and Warhammer 40k, and they were talking about Urda, who is the mother of the Primarchs. And then there was something that someone talked about which I didn't know about, and they pointed it out to me. They didn't point it out to me. It was in the comments section. I saw it. And they were talking about how when Urda was fighting during Warhammer 40k, she split into a triple form. And she was basically, and like what that actually meant, because obviously, 40k takes a lot of inspiration from real history. And it turns out that basically Erda looks to be the representation of the female god of Wicca. Now, Wicca has two gods. Now, if Erda's representing the female version, it would stand to reason that potentially the Emperor is representing the male version. Have we just gone into ads? We've gone into ads. All right, we'll finish this story in a second, because I think Dan is probably watching an advert right now. I need to get... Oh, I did that too close. I need to zoom out, get rid of that, start again. That. Where are we at? We've got 30 seconds of ads. Holy crap, how many ads does Twitch run now? They run up to... I've just realised I'm trying to respond to him, he can't see. I'm trying to respond, he can't see. Are we back yet? Right, we're back. Okay, we're back now. In answer to your question, they run up to 2 minutes of ads. I believe is what it's currently set to. So there we go. But anyway, so right, back to the thing. So Erda is it looks like Erda is a representation of the female god of Wicca. Which, based on the fact that, you know, she's with the Emperor, would potentially suggest that the Emperor is the male god of Wicca, because Wicca has two sides. Wicca has a male side and a female side in terms of gods. Also, Erda translates as Earth in if you translate the name. So essentially, I think Erda is meant to basically be Gaia. I think that's what Erda is kind of representing. Now, that's not the interesting bit, Dan. That's not the interesting bit that I expect you to be interested in. So don't worry if you sat there going, "Why are you telling me this?" We're going to get there. The interesting bit is in Wicca what the male god is called. So, I'll just give you this now, as I sent it to Barely at the weekend. So Erda translates to Earth. Erda, when she fights, transforms into a triple form. Erda is the female Wicca god. Wicca has two gods, male and a female. The male god is called the Horned God. As I've just said, being that Erda and the Emperor are working together, makes sense that the Emperor is the male side of the Wicca god, which means the Emperor is the Horned God. In Warhammer, the Horned God is the god of Skaven. The Emperor is the god of humanity. Exhibit A, corpse starch, humanity eats humanity. Exhibit B, the Imperial Guard, Humans will throw humans into combat with utter disregard for human life. In conclusion, humans are Skaven, spreading out across the galaxy, devouring everything they see. Skaven have always been in Warhammer 40k. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So there you go. That was the bit that I figured you might enjoy. You might not enjoy it. You might just completely disregard it. But I think that is solid proof. I think that is solid proof that... why is that not going on a blurry side? Skaven regiments when, yeah. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit of an interesting funny, and that's my conclusion, is that humanity is the Skaven. Oh, I've done this all on the same layer. That's why that's not working. You donut. You absolute donut. You absolute donut. That's grey light. Skaven was supposed to be in 40k. Yeah, no. If you go back to old school 40k artwork, they're a space Skaven. They're absolutely space Skaven if you go back to old artwork. In the Horus Heresy, a greater demon of the Horned Rat attacks the palace. Wait, is that in old lore or current lore? They put it in the 9 zillion book series. You talk about the Horus Heresy. When did a greater demon of the Horned Rat attack the palace? Because I've read all the Siege of Terror books. I haven't read all the Horus Heresy, but the Siege of Terror is when they're actually attacking the palace. I'm trying to think when there's... I'm trying to think when there's a reference to the Horned Rat. Is Ash still here? Or did Ash just walk off when I started doing movie reviews? Like, he asked for these movie reviews and now he's gone. So if anyone else wants any movie reviews doing, there's a Channel Point Redemption. The only restrictions are they have to be available on UK, Netflix, or Amazon Prime. Again, UK version. I watch movies, so you don't have to. There you go. There you go. That's not gone quite how I want it. Let's do that. Do-do-do-do. Oh, actually, Dan, while you are here, I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on it. I don't know if you've been watching it, but the voting for the forfeit game next week, up until this weekend, it was looking like it was an absolute sure thing. It was going to be Phoenix Point, but some additional people. I say no, just one person. Sorry, not. It makes it sound like an army of people have turned up. Someone voted for Euro Truck Simulator. So right now they're tied. They're tied for which one's going to get streamed. I don't actually know what I'm going to do if there's a tie. I didn't really think that was going to happen. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do if on the day there's still a tie between those two games. I might put it in. I might just roll a dice. If there's if that continues to be a tie, because I don't really know a fairer way of doing it. But yeah, at the moment they're even. They're even Stevens, or at least they were when I checked over the weekend. I didn't actually check this morning. Maybe I should check. I tell you what, shall I check now, rather than me saying that? It might have changed this morning. Game voting. Yeah, no, okay. So yeah, they're both even Stevens right now for the forfeit. Which, for anyone else who's watching, if you are a member of the channel, or you're a member on Kofi, you get access. You get access to the member area of Discord. For anyone who thinks that's ridiculously exciting, it's not really. The member area of Discord, you guys get to vote. If I'm doing any kind of votes relating to the channel, that's where the votes happen. If I have any spare game keys, that's the first place they will go. That's not a guarantee that they happen all the time. Like, I can't guarantee when I'm going to have game keys. Just, as I say, that's where they go. But anyway, yeah, if you are a member and you haven't already checked it out, there is a game vote there if anyone wants to vote on it. Right now we're voting on which game I'm going to do for the game forfeit. I'm pretty certain, based on the response so far, no one is interested in seeing me playing I Love You, Colonel Sanders, except for Sado. Except for some reason, Sado wants to see me play I Love You, Colonel Sanders. I also need to check, actually. Is anyone... Wait. View reactions. Oh, I can't bloody see him. Oh wait, someone's just swapped. Who's just swapped? Oh, you know, it's been sorted now. Right, Phoenix Point. The Phoenix Point is back in the lead. It's back in the lead, Phoenix Point. Because I think it's Glowing Boar. The problem is, because I've got the streamer thing on right now, everyone's names are cut down to their first letter. I think it's Glowing Boar. I think Glowing Boar has switched from Euro Truck Simulator to I Love You, Colonel Sanders. So there you go. There you go. Do what you will with that information. Anyway, Phoenix Point is back in the top spot. Found it. The End and Death Part 1 name drops Queefle Grizzlegut. Hang on, let me save that for later. I'll go and look that up later. I'm intrigued. And the reason why I'm intrigued is because I feel like there's so much stuff missed from the books that's just passed people by. So like, it would not surprise me if the Horned Rat has been named in 40k. That would not surprise me that it's just passed people by. Because like, I've seen no one. I don't think I've seen anyone make a video on the fact that it was in Saturnine. In Saturnine, which is one of the Siege of Terror books, Erda confirms that all the Primarchs are Perpetuals. And I don't understand how no one is talking about it on YouTube. I don't get how no one's talking about the fact that she's said that all the Primarchs are Perpetuals. And I've seen all kinds of bits. I've seen all kinds of bits that people just don't seem to have talked about on the 40k stuff. So yeah, if the Horned Rat is mentioned, that doesn't entirely surprise me. You expect them to take Queefle Grizzlegut out. Why do you expect them to take Queasel? Yeah. Why do you expect them to take it out though, Dan? Because everyone thinks it's lame. I don't know why everyone thinks it's lame. What does it mean to be a perpetual? So yeah, perpetuals are immortal. Perpetuals are immortals. So perpetuals have existed in 40k already. Like there's a bunch of people who are perpetuals, and up until the Horus Heresy stuff, the only confirmed perpetual Primarch is Vulcan. Now it is possible to kill a perpetual. It's just really difficult. But yeah, during Saturnine, Erda basically talks about how the Emperor was making the Primarchs, and as part of that, basically the Emperor wants to turn the entire of humanity into perpetuals, and so he was trying to perfect how to make. He was trying to perfect how to make perpetuals. So it's not that they are natural perpetuals. So there are natural perpetuals and manufactured perpetuals. Manufactured perpetuals are not as strong as natural ones. So you could still argue that potentially explains that it's not necessarily going to work as well. But yeah, Erda basically says that they're all manufactured perpetuals, and no one seems to be talking about it. Sawtooth, are you not a fan of the Primaris? I don't think there's. I think the Primaris makes sense. I'm okay with the Primaris, not necessarily with the way. Like, I feel like the Primaris probably should have been spoken about a bit more before Rabute came back. I'm okay with the Primaris though. And as for the Primarchs being perpetuals, I think it makes sense. I think it makes complete sense. Like, if you've got the ability to make Vulcan a perpetual, why the hell would you not make all of them perpetuals? Like, if you're giving everyone aspects of yourself, why would you not give them the ability? So I kind of like, even before Saturnine, and this was, so when I was having a conversation with Bailey about it, I was going through Saturnine. And I'd actually said this. I'd said this to Bailey before I'd read Saturnine. I was like, I think all the Primarchs are perpetuals. Because it makes no sense that if the Emperor had the ability to make Vulcan a perpetual, why would he not make all of them perpetuals? Like, that makes no sense that he would only do it to one of them. And then Saturnine came along. And at the time, I sent Bailey a message going, "See, I've been saying this is what I said." So the Primarchs who died, Sanguinius, they will return. Sanguinius, like I think part of the thing with like the part of the thing with the Primarchs is there is a strong indication that they are made via some kind of warp magic. Like, that was the final piece. That was the final piece of being able to make them. Like, some people suspect that they are contained, like they're potentially like gods contained in vessels. Like, I've seen people talk about that, but there's not a lot to actually. There's not been any like properly like written down stuff suggesting like that. We still don't know exactly what the Primarchs are, but they are made. They're like, there is something different about their souls to like normal people's souls. And And so Sanguinius's soul is on Horus's flagship. It's in two parts. His soul has been split in two. So there's the angry part and the happy part. And so in theory, if the theory is correct that the Primarch souls were taken from the warp and contained within the vessels that were the Primarch bodies, there's no reason why Sanguinius's soul, if they created a new vessel for it, there's no reason why if you could get his soul, you could put it back in the vessel. So there is a possibility that Sanguinius could come back in that way. And from that perspective, then the same should be the same for Ferrus, because Ferrus's soul is still around. Ferrus's soul appeared during the War of the Webway. He came in leading all the souls of the Space Marines for a big mash-up in the middle of the Webway. So his soul still exists. So in theory, his could be put in a body. I think it is very doable for bringing back the Primarchs. I mean, even the way. So in the past. Also, hello Yana. Welcome in. In the past, Horus's soul was obliterated, and so a lot of people turned around and said, "There's no way that Horus can come back because his soul was obliterated. It was given a true death." The way that the Horus Heresy is written now, it wasn't obliterated. It wasn't like the way it's worded now is that it wasn't obliterated, like he was killed and his soul was potentially fractured, but it wasn't like in the past it was like his soul doesn't exist anymore. Now it's kind of like his soul's an absolute mess. So even Horus, I think I would almost hope they don't bring back Horus. Otherwise we are just going in a cycle. Though this is always the problem. If we're going in a circle, like the whole narrative of Warhammer 40k is set up that it's a cycle. Like the Emperor didn't get turned into the Dark King at the end of the Horus Heresy. Sorry for spoilers, people, but the books have been around a bit now. He didn't get turned into the Dark King. But they actually say in the books, we get to try again in 10,000 years. They say in the books, like, in 10,000 years we get to try again. And the Horus Heresy happened in the 30k. We're now in 40k. So on the basis the whole thing is just a cycle, then the idea of Horus coming back again is not. They'll all come back. I think all the Primarchs will end up coming back in some way, shape, or form. Now, whether some of the Primarchs come back and maybe become loyal to the throne again, now that they've seen what was actually going on in the world, then I think that's also a possibility. That I feel like that with the way that they changed his death, they've set it up so they can bring back Horus if they want to. Sawtooth, you've seen a fan fiction that kind of runs with the idea that the Primarchs are powerful souls inside bodies. You've seen Sanguinius be the Christian god. So I've seen a whole bunch of stuff, like even in like 40k stuff, and I am very much. And actually, do you know what? It was kind of reinforced. So at the beginning of this conversation, when we were talking about Urda being the female god of Wicca, and the Emperor potentially being like the male god of Wicca. This kind of reinforced the idea in my head, and I would be absolutely not thrown at all if we just find out that what the Emperor did was he was able to capture all the old gods into bodies, and I think he probably learned that from the old ones. I think he managed to learn enough from the old ones that he was able to capture all the old gods into Primarch bodies. And so yeah, I think it's complete. That would not shock me in any way, shape, or form if they turn around and go, "Oh, all the Primarchs, they represent all the old gods from the old world." So the old world is in like our old world, not Warhammer Fantasy. And then, sorry, Yana, you were typing bits, weren't you? Yana, you out today, picked up a referral from the GP. Yeah. Then you went to the city, get your prescription. Yep. Then you went home. Yep. I've had a very busy morning. Yeah. Ordered the refill, which will be delivered Friday. So you've had a bit of a travel round. Oh my God! It's 11:45. Wait, what have I actually? Oh God! Ambro's going to tell me off. Ambro's going to tell me off for not having done enough work. Damn it. Ambro's going to tell me off for not having done enough work. It's fine. We've done some stuff. I'm happier with the shape of this. I think this was the right decision, by the way. I think this was the right decision to bring the scythe over to this side. I think that was a good call because it fits nicer together. So I think that was. So I have achieved some stuff. Obviously, we had the crash before, but yeah. And sorry, yeah, Dan, you were saying you think Games Workshop's too greedy for bringing back Horus. I think the problem for Games Workshop, and don't get me wrong, they want to make money. I am completely on board with the fact that Games Workshop wants to make money. This is not me trying to say Games Workshop doesn't want to make money. Like Games Workshop absolutely wants to make money because, just to like inform everyone, that they're a business. They're a business. Their job is to make money, like that. So it's nothing to do with. But I think the problem with Games Workshop. Not the problem with Games Workshop. I think the problem that Games Workshop has is. Oh, look at that over there. I don't want that there. I think the problem for Games Workshop is I don't think they ever anticipated Warhammer 40k lasting for as long as it did. Oh, sorry, has. I don't think they thought this train would go on for as long as it was going to. Like if you look at, when you look back at things like Rogue Trader and all the crazy stuff that was going on in Rogue Trader, and then they went through a period where they're like, oh, we probably need to formalize this a bit so it makes a bit more sense. And they tried to make sense of the random stuff they'd put together. And then over time, they've ended up with a system that is just full of plot holes. And they've just been chasing their tails, trying to fix plot holes all this time. So in terms of like changing the way that Horus is, I think the problem, essentially what the whole purpose of the Horus Heresy was so they could try and get their lore in order, because they've realized that they actually need to be planning 20 years ahead rather than whatever they were thinking. Like in the 80s when they wrote 40k, I have no doubt that they didn't think Warhammer 40k was ever going to go beyond the 80s. Like, I don't think they thought it was going to turn out as big as it was. So in terms of it being greed by them rewriting the lore, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's more they've realised that they have to have an established lore that will work for far longer than they ever thought they were going to be writing this thing for. Now, in terms of like, is it worth? Is there going to be a monetary element to it all? Yes, but again, they're a business. I'm not gonna like beat them about the bush because they want to make money. But they see what's popular, and so they're going to change the lore with what's popular. I just would like them to do it in a decent way. And so like the Primaris. I don't mind the Primaris. I'm fine. I'm fine with the Primaris existing. I'm fine with the Primaris being here. I think it makes sense that someone would have been trying to improve the Space Marines, and like in terms of like improving the Space Marines, that's not a brand new idea. Like improving the Space Marines is not a brand new idea. That's why we had the 13th founding that went completely wrong. Like no one had an issue, right? No one had a big issue with the 13th founding where people tried to improve the Space Marines and a lot of it went wrong. No one had a problem with that. But we've got a problem with the Primar. We've got a problem with it going right. I don't really understand that. The bit I have in it, the bit that I think is wrong is I don't think they did a great job of introducing them. Like they need a better explanation for why the Primaris came out when Rebute turned up. Now, that doesn't necessarily need to be a complicated explanation. You know, like a lot of people would have burned Belisarius Call at the stake for doing what he was doing, though that could have been circumvented by just having some approval from someone. Because they've tried to make it very, like, they've tried to make it through like visions and stuff that Call knew, like one of Call's personalities knew the Emperor, and so like that person, like that personality knows that the Emperor wants him to do what he's doing. Seems kind of weird that he wouldn't give him some kind of like official thing saying, hey, it's okay that he's screwing with my life's work. And we know the, you know, I mean, even away from things like the 13th founding, you know, we know the Emperor was changing the Marines as well. We know the Emperor was changing the Marines because that's what the Grey Knights were. The Grey Knights are a stabilized gene seed, which are most likely just a stabilized Thousand Sun gene seed. Whether it's had some of the Emperor's DNA injected into it, who knows, but it's most likely just a stabilized Thousand Sun gene seed. And we also know from the Horus Heresy that actually the Emperor was not the only person working on the Space Marines. You know, we had Foe, who was a brilliant geneticist who, I think it was Foe who did the Black Carapace. So while the Emperor did like the Primarchs and stuff, and even then with the Primarchs, he obviously had Erda with it. We got a problem. Like essentially, the problem is like obviously like trying to bring the lore in line in a way that works is tricky. But I kind of get why they're doing what they do. And then, sorry, I was in my own little monologue there. While I was trying to figure this, while I was trying to tidy up these prongs, I was in my own little monologue. And sorry, Ayana. Or because your arthritis stock cannot scan in the health insurance card like they usually can. Oh, so that's why you had to go on you wandering around all the different places. It's not like you would normally have to do that. Oh, that sucks because of a tech problem. Oh, I hope that doesn't happen again. Because that sucks if all that was just because of a tech problem. That sucks. You don't think they give a shit about lore? I do. I think they do give a shit about lore. I do think they give a shit about lore. It's just it's a ridiculously complex lore. We're also in an advert, aren't we? No. There, that, there. What time are we on? It's nearly 12. Okay, we're nearly at the end of stream. Nearly at the end of stream because I need to go and do other bits. Which is a shame. I would like to have got this finished today. Where are we at with... Okay. We've got about 10 seconds left on ads. Are we back? We're back. Hang on, I'll scroll back up chat in a sec, just make sure what other new bits are there. Homework is important because it pays the bills. Indeed, yes. Yes. Right, and then, sorry, did people see Space Marine 2 was hacked and leaked? I've seen that it's been put out there, yeah. I've not tried to look into it, though. Like, if I do play Space Marine 2, I don't know when I'll buy it. I don't know when I'll play it, but I will look to avoid spoilers for as long as possible. And yeah, so if it's been leaked and hacked, then it's a bit of a shame. But anyway, sorry, right, where was I? We were so yeah, we were talking about GW making money. You don't think they give a shit about... So, sorry, I do think they give a shit about the lore. I think they give a shit about... Because they've spent so much time trying to get lore that, like, gets rid of plot holes. Unfortunately, they've ended up trying to get rid of so many plot holes that they've potentially created new plot holes. But it's a really complicated universe. It's a ridiculously complicated universe. You know, like, they have someone... Like, I can't remember what his name is, but like there's a guy in Games Workshop who his entire purpose is like people go and talk to him about does this break lore when they've got an idea. Like they've got someone whose entire life is just about trying not to have lore breaking things. But yeah, surprise new Space Marine, surprise everyone comes back, surprise the Imperium never loses. I mean, the Imperium, like, you know, they've lost Cadia. Like, the Imperium does lose. But you've also got to appreciate, Dan, right? If the Imperium starts losing, there can't be... And this is where it can be better to enjoy books than gaming systems. If the Imperium loses, basically Warhammer 40k is over. Because the humans are what make money for them. And like, as much as you might, I don't really get how you can be in a position of they shouldn't make money. They have to make money, otherwise the game doesn't exist. Like, if the humans lose in 40k, 40k is done. Because the majority of people who play 40k play as some form of human. Whether it's Space Marines, Imperial Guard, whatever. That's how they make money and keep the thing going. So in terms of like bringing out, they have to bring out new models, because if they don't bring out new models, then their sales will drop off and they'll stop making money. and if they stop making money, 40k ends. So the whole thing of them needing to make money, like, to a certain degree, yeah, it kind of sucks because it means you need to buy new stuff. But if they don't, then there's no more 40k. So it's kind of like, do we want more 40k or do we not want more 40k? If we don't want more 40k, then fair enough. Like, it just, it's a, and like we kind of saw it with Age of Sigmar. Like Warhammer Fantasy, they tried to take Warhammer Fantasy to a point where they were like, the world has been shattered. And then Age of Sigmar kind of, like, all the people who wanted to play Warhammer Fantasy went, what do you mean the world's been shattered? It's like, well, we progressed the story. And the Empire lost. You know, like the armies of Order lost and the world got shattered. And then a load of people went, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean they lost? And loads of people got annoyed with the fact that Warhammer Fantasy, it lost and we moved on to Age of Sigmar. Now, there's a bunch of people who jumped into Age of Sigmar and had a great time with Age of Sigmar, but they're already bringing back old Warhammer Fantasy. Like, they've had to restart that because they've kind of gone, oh shit, everyone hated us actually having a thing where we lose. Enough people hated the idea of the Warhammer world failing that they've decided to reboot it and bring it back, rather than carrying on with Age of Sigmar. So you kind of have to have people, like, the Imperium does lose, but also the Imperium is massive. So if the Imperium loses a world, it doesn't entirely matter if they lose a world. But in terms of progressing the story, that the idea of New Space Marines, I don't think they did it brilliantly, but the idea of New Space Marines, I have no issue with. The Emperor was trying to improve things. Like, you know, he made the Primarchs, he made the Thunder Warriors, he made the Custodes, he made the Space Marines. He kept on making new things. So it's not, so the idea that no one else could make new things doesn't really make sense. Not that they, you know, like Call hasn't necessarily created something from scratch. He's taken what he knew was there and tweaked it to try and improve it. He's not invented he's not like created completely brand new things. So creating stronger Space Marines makes sense, especially when you think that, and this is probably something that's not been represented brilliantly, is the fact that the Space Marines that have turned to Chaos have become stronger and bigger and have new abilities. And so, like, Chaos did it, so it doesn't seem crazy that the Imperium wouldn't do it. And obviously he had to do it in secret because they're not really meant to do it in the open. But I think the thing with like Games Workshop changing the lore is not because they don't care about lore. They're trying to create a lore that they can actually do something with, that they can actually progress, but progress in a way that they can keep the story going for longer. And then there was ads, yeah. The difference is the Emperor was the one working on it. Well, the Emperor wasn't the only one working on it. The Emperor wasn't the only one working on Space Marines. The Emperor was not involved with the Primaris. We don't know if he hadn't started work on the Primaris. Like, Call didn't start this stuff from scratch. He was handed, like, the Emperor's research. So how did some random person be better than the Emperor? I don't think anyone's trying to say that Call is better than the Emperor. I think Call has taken the research that was there and just carried on progressing with it. I don't think there's anything that says, like, Call is better. Sorry, I also appreciate I'm catching up with chat, which is stuff that was said pre-adverts. And then, sorry, talking about Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 live service with a patch. With a pass. I had no intention of getting Space Marine 2 when it first came out. I didn't love... While I enjoyed Space Marine, I didn't enjoy Space Marine enough to make me go, I need Space Marine 2 as soon as it turns up. In fact, I never actually completed Space Marine. I think I got to the final battle of Space Marine and then just never finished the final battle. So I never really had an intention of leaping into Space Marine 2. But yeah, if it's got Season Pass stuff, that doesn't surprise me that it's got Season Pass stuff. Like, if you want a game to have new content and carry on for a long time, it's going to need a regular revenue stream. Part of me does kind of miss games just coming out and just being the game. If they lost something substantial, it would justify the change. It's no, sorry, apologies, Dan. I appreciate you typed that when I was probably a part of that monologue, so I'm not sure which bit that's referring to. Mana, hello. Just another 50. Oh, it can't be another 50 minutes. I do need to wrap up the stream. I do need to wrap up the stream. The problem is they could sell the models at quarter of the price and still make profits. I don't know if they can. I don't know. I don't know exactly the profit and loss that they make on a model, so I don't know how accurate that is. God, you're out if we're talking about this. Dan, I feel like you've been part of this conversation. You can. They want to make stories, but tabletop war games, they don't need to progress the story. I think you would get a lot of pushback if you carried on. If the books carried on beyond the tabletop. Like, if the tabletop wasn't doing what the stories were doing, I think you'd end up with a lot of pushback. I appreciate not everyone wants to do that, and arguably you don't have to, do you? Like, you could just play whatever edition of 40k you wanted. So like, that's completely an option. But I think if Games Workshop didn't progress the tabletop in line with what's happening in the story, there'd be a lot of people. I think there would be a substantial amount of people complaining that it wasn't, that they couldn't do what was happening in the stories on the tabletop. You got into 40k because the minis look cool, not because of any story. Which, I mean, if that's, but I suppose that comes back to that point, doesn't it? Like, you can play an old version of 40k, and if you've got the miniatures, if you've got like old miniatures, like if you've got, say, like first edition, if you've got Firstborn Space Marines, you can just play an old version of the game. Like, that doesn't necessarily stop. Like, I mean, like, I've got like somewhere over there, I've got like a copy of Gorka Morka. I could play Gorka Morka now. And then I think I'm kind of caught up with chat. But sorry, yeah, Manny, you've got work at 1 o'clock. Well, sorry, 2 o'clock for you, isn't it? Yeah, no, I am going to wrap up stream soon because I've got loads of bits to do. We've kind of made some progress, and I'm happy with this. So on the plus side, coming back to what's been going on actual screen here, I'm pleased that I switched the scythe round. I think the scythe being this way round makes way more sense than when I had it here. This felt unbalanced. This felt unbalanced, whereas I think this with all the metal being at the top, I think this feels a bit more balanced than what I had going on there. And obviously, and I've straightened out the side a bit as well. Straightened out the side, so it's still got a bit of a curve going on, but it fits. Yeah, it's still got a curve, but it fits a bit more with the straightness of the pitchfork. The only issue I've got with the pitchfork right now is this feels very thick. Might need to slim it down. Might need to slim it down a bit. And I'm wondering whether I should do that before I do the wood on it, because the wood will pixelate. Or I just keep it as it is, because it is meant to be a symbol. But anyway, so, and then, oh, actually, that's the other bit I should try with this, before we wrap up stream. So, the idea of the second version of this. The second version of this will be the militia, which the militia will have a shield. So if the shield is centered there, and so there will end up being a shield. So the shield will end up doing that. So that'll be the symbol for the common folk, just farming implements. And then with the shield on top, that'll represent the militia. So that comes back to this thing. So we've got the common folk there. And then when it's got the shield, it'll be the militia. And then obviously this is the watch. The watch has their own symbol, but that's got a whole backstory to it. And then yeah. So these aren't in a particular order, but it'll be that to that to that. Kind of represents the different military organizations. And obviously these are going to be the kofi things as well. But yeah, so when the shield is on top, we still get to see these bits at the back. I think that looks okay. Yeah, so now I just need to kind of sort out the wood effects on top of these. Well, that's going to have to be a different day. That is not going to get to be today. Let's put that there. Yes. And let's close that. And I think I'd been using that for... I think it's tried to load an autosave of when I was doing the speed sketch from this morning. I think that's what that was doing. Anyway, right. We've done stuff. We've done a speed sketch. We got some of these symbol things worked on. We've talked about terrible movies that none of you should waste your time watching. We've obviously talked about Games Workshop. You got a screenshot. I tell you what, I will double check it. But I think the speed sketch did actually save before that crash from before. I shall tell no lies. Has this kept? There you go. Yeah, no, the speed sketch saved. So that's fine. Oh, hello, Kofi Streambot. Thanks for coming in. Thumbs, welcome back. Welcome back, Thumbs. Wait, Thumbs, are you the Kofi Streambot? Are you one in the same things? You turned up just at the same time. And then, sorry, yeah, the last bits. So yeah, Sawtooth, you were talking about with the law. Was it before or after learning about it? Pretty sure everyone plays 40k got onto it because of the cool minis and then found the lore and characters. Yeah, I would imagine most people got into it for the most people came into the Games Workshop side of things from the game. Well, certainly from back when we got into it, because we're all old. I think the majority of us are old people. Back when we got into Games Workshop, I think most people got into it because it was cool miniatures. I think it was cool miniatures playing on, it was something to do on tabletop. Nowadays, I wonder if that's how everyone got into it. I think there are probably people who may still get into it from that point, but I reckon now there's probably a lot of people. I think there will be a significant portion of people who get into it because of computer games. And they will get into it because it's a cool looking computer game. So I suppose that's still of the same kind of ilk, isn't it? It's still kind of connected to the game looked cool, so they got into it and then they found out more about it. I think there's probably also a good portion of people who learn about 40 Games Workshop stuff from YouTube lore videos. Like I see, like when I watch a YouTube lore video, like you'll see in comment sections people going, I never knew this stuff existed until I saw this lore video. This sounds really cool. I'm going to go and explore it more. But that's going to be down a bit to like just how the internet is now, isn't it? Like we didn't have the internet when we were young. So I suspect there's probably a lot of people nowadays who might actually come into it from a lore and story perspective, rather than the miniatures. But yeah, when we were younger, then I would imagine, I would probably agree with a lot of people found the miniatures and then discovered the lore afterwards. I don't think that changes anything, though. I don't think that changes anything of what we've been saying. I think a lot of people, like I haven't played the tabletop in 25 years. The lore for me, the lore has very much kind of like kept me involved with Games Workshop. And then like the computer games came along, and I've kind of enjoyed the computer games, though I wouldn't necessarily say the computer games have kept me with Games Workshop. Like when a 40k game comes along, I'll be like, "Ooh, I'll take a look at that." But I'm very much more invested in the stories and the lore. So like from my perspective, it's kind of easier. It's kind of easier for whatever they decide to do, because I just enjoy there being more books. I enjoy there being more lore to play with. But yeah, certainly nowadays, the amount of people who I think get into 40k due to Warhammer lore videos, I think is probably quite noticeable. Glowing Boar, the other way around for you, reading about the lore, never played the games. So, Glowing Boar, when did you first start reading the lore? Like, do you fall into kind of like what I've just been describing of, if we, and sorry, little bit, who are you calling old? I'm calling me old. Obviously, I'm not calling you guys old. It's all about how you feel. It's not about who you are. It's about who you feel. No, not who you feel. No, not how you feel. Not who you feel. How. Slight switching of the letters there. Very different situation and scenario. How you feel. So it's not who you are. It's how you feel. I think that's what I mean. I think that's what I mean. You found a book. So you found a book about 5 or 6 years ago. So you kind of fall into the category of kind of like, I feel like people who are around nowadays People who are, and when I say nowadays, I'm talking about people who've got into 40k in the last 10, 15 years. Like, I think there's probably a lot of people coming into the hobby who are not coming through the tabletop stuff. Because like, certainly from like the book point of view, like the books are so much, like the books side of things is huge now compared to what it was when I was reading books that I was too young to read. I was too young to read Inquisitor, but it was one of the first books I ever read. But anyway, consent is very important. Yes. Thumbs, is this something to do with throwing keys into a bolt? No, it's not. Stop it. Squire, you are. Dawn of War 1 is 20 years old. Look, I got into Games Workshop 30 years ago. Wait, hang on, I might be able to figure this out. Yeah, no, probably about 30 years ago. Probably about 30 years ago I got into Games Workshop. That makes sense. Because it was a bunch of us, oh my god. 3 decades ago when I started like secondary school. God, how am I still alive? It's Dawn of War 1, 20 years. Damn. Do you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. But like, how much is do you know how much has changed from? Because like when I first got into Games Workshop, the internet wasn't really a thing. I'm sure someone is going to turn around and say they had it in 91 and like, good for you if you had it in the early 90s, but it was not mainstream in the early 90s. I also doubt that like in the early 90s Games Workshop was on the internet. I would be really, do you know, if they were, I would love to see what the Games Workshop website looked like in the early 90s if it did exist. I'd say it was the first mainstream Warhammer video game. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, if Dawn of War was 20 years ago, then Final Liberation and Chaos Gate and stuff, they were even earlier, weren't they? Damn. I see what you're all doing. You're all throwing in these little comments for me to reply to try and keep this stream going longer. I do need to go. I do need to leave. I've got to go. You know the exact date you bought your first things for 40k? It was January. Indeed, yes. With the release of the Plastic Boys, Knobs and Trucks and Battle Wagons and Storm Boys, right. Thumbs, in the early 90s, the internet was so small, you really could get a copy of it on a CD. Is that... Wait, what? Wait, I don't even know if you're doing a meme there. I don't know if that's a meme or just history. Who said you had permission to leave? The people who pay me money a little bit. The people who pay me money. Based on... Look, I'll tell you now. You guys, the moment we get to a point, and this is completely and utterly accurate, the moment we get to a point where streaming is making me £10 an hour, when streaming is making me £10 an hour, you guys can dictate how long I stream for. Within reason. I need sleep and food. But as soon as that happens, you guys can dictate that I do longer streams. That's how that works. Right now, there's someone waiting for a lot of work from me, and they're paying me significantly more than £10 an hour. It's not you, it's the warp. Oh, it's the warp that's keeping the stream going. I see. Sawtooth, you know this because it's the first thing you bought was White Dwarf. Do you know what I am absolutely gutted about? I am genuine. Right, so hang on. We are ending, but let's just come over here for a second. knowing, so this is one of the rubbish things about hindsight, and so much so I need to one of the rubbish things about hindsight is I used to have a lot of Warhammer stuff. Like I had loads of Gorka Morka stuff. I had loads of so Warhammer Fantasy. I had a whole, like I had all the Lizardman stuff. Warhammer 40k. I had some Imperial Guard. I had some Space Marines. Some of them are up there. Some of them are in a box over there. I had a load of Battlefleet Gothic stuff. I had loads of stuff, and I had tons of sprues that I had never made. I had so much, like your grey pile of shame. The pile of shame. I had boxes of pile of shame that I never got round to. And when I was in my late teens, I threw it out. I threw away nearly all of my Games Workshop stuff. I kept a bunch of the game books, so things like the Gorka Morka rule books and lore books. I've got like some of the Warhammer 40k. I'm not sure which edition it is, but I've got like some of the Warhammer 40k rule books. I've got my Lizardman Codex. But I threw out all the sprues that I'd never done anything with. I got rid of all my White Dwarfs, because I used to have, like back when I was in my early teens, I had a White Dwarf subscription. All my White Dwarfs went out. And obviously at the time, Games Workshop was not a massive thing to me. Like it had been, like Games Workshop had been a massive thing to me in my early and mid-teens. But when I was in my late teens, I'd moved on from that stuff. And I was also around a lot of people who had zero interest in Games Workshop. And we was also, like, everyone was moving into computers. So this is how old we were. This is how old time is. Everyone was moving away from physical things, and we were all moving into computers. And computers was like the only thing you were allowed to be geeky about. Like if you tried to be geeky about Games Workshop, everyone I was around was like, "Well, no, shut up. We don't care about Games Workshop." I realize this is going to upset someone in chat, but I'm still going to say it. Back then, geeky girls didn't exist, and so you kind of cared about what girls cared about. They didn't care about Games Workshop, so that went away. The shame went in a bin bag and got thrown out. In hindsight, it should have gone in a proper box and gone into storage, because now I would love to have all that stuff. Certainly, and like the White Dwarf. So like, the reason why this twigged in my brain was because Sawtooth, you were saying about like the first White Dwarf you ever had. I wish I had my White Dwarfs. Like the White Dwarfs had so much cool stuff in them. I don't know what White Dwarf is like nowadays, but back then White Dwarf was so cool. And then in terms of like just throwing away all the miniatures that I never did anything with, I can't believe how much money I threw away, and potentially how much of that stuff you cannot get anymore. Like I suspect you can't get any of the Gorka Morka stuff anymore. But yeah, I threw it all out in my late teens, because that just felt like it was a different part of my life, and I didn't think that Games Workshop was really a big thing. Back in my late teens, Games Workshop was not a massive thing. Games Workshop wasn't a massive thing in my late teens. Now they're massive like hobby company. And then the daft thing was I never like completely went away. I never completely went away from Games Workshop, because I carried on with the books. So I still had like a connection going on. Like I carried on liking Games Workshop, but it was very much in private. It was secret. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. Like instead of being a pile of plastic crack, your pile of grey shame, it just became a shame in my brain. it was a shame in my brain. I shouldn't like it, and I needed to move on from it. But I carried on with the books because I can't remember when the first Tanith book came out. I can't remember when the first Tanith book came out, but I want to say it was the Tanith books that kept me into Games Workshop on the sideline. But I just didn't think Games Workshop was going to be a big thing. I kind of figured, like, by this point in my life, I kind of figured that Games Workshop probably wouldn't have existed anymore. That's the way I thought. That's the way I thought about it. I was like, Games Workshop probably won't exist and this almost comes back to my point before. This comes back to my point before, which is that I think that Games Workshop didn't think that Games Workshop would still exist by now. I don't think they had any idea that they would still exist by now, and that's why all the law's a mess. And they're trying to fix the law, but it's very difficult to fix the law because so many of us love the old law. It's all right, though. They're bringing back the Star Child. So many people told me to shut up about the Star Child. When I started writing theories about Games Workshop and where it was going, people told me I was an idiot for talking about Star Child because it wasn't spoken about anymore. Fucking Star Child's coming back. So, to all of you naysayers who aren't here because there were comments on YouTube about 20 years ago. I was right. You were all wrong. I appreciate none of those people are here, so none of you take it that way. But yeah. Bailey, you had a first edition Japanese Charizard Pokemon card that your uncle sent you as a kid when he worked over in Japan. It got thrown away when you moved house. Oh no! Oh no. Wait, see, that is like a different level to what I've just described. I've just described like a box of plastic crack that was probably worth back then about £200 and now is probably worth £200. You've just described something that potentially could have been worth so much money that you could be retired now. So I feel bad for you. I feel bad, and you probably don't want me to remind you of that. That sucks. Lunch is prepped. Yana, my lunch is not prepped because I'm sat here talking about how hobbies change. But yeah, anyway, I've still got the books. I've still got my original book. My original 40k book is right there, and I'm so happy that is still here. I wish I had all my White Dwarfs though. I really do. I really do wish I had all my White Dwarfs. With Venusaur and Blastoise. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, I played Pokemon. Pokemon came right on the back. Like, I was a bit too old for Pokemon. And when we're talking about a bit too old, I'm talking like a couple of years too old for Pokemon. So I still played Pokemon because I'm a fucking geeky nerd person. Like, but I was in that phase of you had to hide the fact that I'm still of a generation where you had to hide the fact that you're a geeky nerd person. Like, that's the generation I was from. So you still had to hide that you're a geeky nerd person. And so I did play Pokemon, but it wasn't really something that you could super talk about. The daft thing is the amount of people I know now who are my age who got back like into the second wave of Pokemon. But like when it came to like all the cards and stuff, I never got into like collectible card stuff. The closest I ever got to collectible card stuff was Top Trumps. But that's not even really a proper. That was kind of like Top Trumps was kind of pre-collectible card. In terms of the way collectible cards are now. Like, I realised there were baseball cards and football cards. But collectible cards now seem to be like a merging of like sports collectible cards and game cards. Like Top Trumps and sports cards kind of had a baby, and that's now collectible card games. But yeah, so I never fell into that trap of potentially having like the Pokemon stuff and whatnot. Manny, you appreciate because you've still got 17 minutes to go. Right, I have got so many things to do. I've got so many things to do. I do need to. Oh, now we're in an ad break. Now I can't say anything because we're in an ad break. Oh, we don't have the ad goblin on this screen. Oh dear. Oh my god, this screen is so old. What is this? What is this? This makes no sense. But Cosmic Bunny, thank you very much. That overlay, what is this screen? Why has this screen got that overlay? That overlay doesn't even make sense. What was that all about? It's got no sounds. Okay, we need okay guys, we're gonna have to go manual. We're gonna have to go manual because Cosmic Bunny's just donated some bits and there's been no sound to appreciate that you've donated some bits. So let's roll out. Let's do that. There you go. Cosmic Bunny, that was for you. That was for you. There you go. I hope that sound actually played. Did that sound play for you guys? This is how, but there was sound. Fantastic. Good. Good. As long as there was sound. Because I just realised then I played the sound and I went, wait, but we've already worked out that this overlay doesn't work properly. So that might have not sounded. But as long as it did, good. Good, good, good. Marvellous. There was a sound. Wait, hang on. Wait, did no one else hear that? Did no one else hear? No. Oh no, it doesn't play on this. Oh my god, everything is broken. Everything is broken. Hang on. Hang on.
Cheeky.
Wait, which does this play through? What do you play through?
Oh, have I told you how beautiful you are?
There we go. Let's take that. Can I copy this? I want to copy this. I want to copy this. How do I copy this? Why can I not copy you? Copy. Stream. Oh, for God's sake. It's alright. We'll get there. We'll fix this. I'm going to fix this now. Because this... Wait, this screen should work. What's wrong with you? Your Stream Deck. Your stream... Hang on. Hang on. Right, we're not going anywhere yet. I need to work out what's going on here. Stream Deck sounds.
Blimey, Governor.
Stream Deck sounds. Just chatting. So that's just called Stream Deck. That's not correct, is it? So let's get rid of you. Your nonsense, whatever you are. Wait, how do I get rid of you? Why can't I get rid of you? I don't want to hide you. I want to... Oh, God. OBS has changed. OBS has bloody changed. And it doesn't... Wait. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Then what is this thing? This thing is Stream Deck. Where is Stream Deck? Stream Deck is there. It's a sound. So let's go over here. And then it needs to be a sound. Oh, wait, hang on. No, if I go over here. Wait, I think I was trying to copy the wrong thing. There we go. Copy. Then we'll come over here. And then we'll paste. Then we'll paste the reference. And then that reference will go there. And then when we're on this screen...
Oh, have I told you how beautiful you are?
There we go. Right. That's on the right screen now. Good. I'm glad we spent that time doing that. I'll fix this overlay at some point. In fact, can I fix that overlay now? Sod it. Do you know what? Should we just... Let's just get it done. Twitch alerts. Copy. Twitch alerts. Copy. Come over here. Paste a reference. Those go on the top. So can I replay... No, I don't want to report you. That's not what I want to do at all. Oh, I can't replay it. Damn it. I can't replay it because we're doing the restream thing. I don't get the status thing anymore, so I can't replay that thing from before. That sucks. Anyway, right, we should have a proper... But that means we don't need that anymore. So let's put that away. There we go. I think I've fixed everything now. I think everything's the way it's meant to be. Oh... and then the chat. Wait, is that one still here? Oh, do you know what? That one might need to still be there. That one. Yeah, let's trigger a thing. Let's do that. That did nothing now. Oh no. Wait, is it because I hid it? Is that why? Wait, is that... What? No? Hang on. It's alright. We'll figure this out. This is what you guys have made me do. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Stream elements. That did nothing, did it? That did nothing. I think I've fixed one bit and broken the other bit. Oh well, that could be a problem for another day. That can be a problem for another day. I'm not going to worry about that now. Anyway, oh, is it raining? Yes, it's raining. It's raining. Good, good. Anyway, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I need to finish. I need to go do things that are not here, and I'm being very distracted. So congratulations to all of you who have tried to distract me there. You've done really well. Congratulations to you. Well done. So tomorrow is Wednesday. I am not here tomorrow because tomorrow is Wednesday and I don't stream on a Wednesday currently, unless, you know, we get back up to that figure from before, which someone said was really low. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Little Bit. I think Little Bit thinks that it was where is it? That little. It was, yes. It was Little Bit that thinks that amount was very low. But anyway, and I realise if you weren't here 5 minutes ago, that makes no sense. What am I doing? I'm finishing. So yeah, not here tomorrow because tomorrow is when I have to do things in the real world, which sucks, but it happens. So we'll be back on Thursday. Thursday we will have an art stream in the morning, and we might try and get at least one of these symbols finished. That would be good, wouldn't it, if we finish one of those symbols? And then the afternoon, I would love to say will be gaming, but I suspect it won't be with all the bits of work I've got to get on. And then Friday will be a double day of work. I might need to put a vote on Discord in regards to Friday's stream, because we're obviously doing Going Medieval right now, and we've done most of Going Medieval, but I do have technically I have 3. I have a bunch of game keys for stuff to stream, and I'm wondering whether maybe to do Friday as a split it in half, do one of the games in the morning and do one of the games in the afternoon, because I've got Cataclysmo, and I've also got Norland. Cataclysmo is a fortress building game, where you're surviving hordes attacking you and you're building a fortress to defend it. And the other one is Norland, which I don't know enough about, but I think it's kind of like a medieval, it's a bit of a medieval RimWorld, I think based on what briefliness I've looked at it with. So I might have to chuck those I might chuck those on Discord. Not necessarily to say that Going Medieval will go away forever. I think I've said this before. I'm just conscious I keep getting sent keys and not streaming the games. So we might have a day where I just stream some other games. And then go back to Go Medieval. Though I'm a little bit torn on how much we've actually got left to do on Go Medieval. I'm not sure whether there's how much content is left of Go Medieval. I don't know. We'll figure it out on Discord, because that's how we do it. Norland or Moorland? I'll hang on. I will get you the link. Oh no, is Steam going to start trying to download things? No, stop it. You're going to kill my... Stop it. Don't kill my frames. Where's Cataclysmo? So, the first one I was talking about is... The first one I was talking about was that one. And the second one is that one. But yeah, so those are the two. I might put them on Discord and see if people like either this Friday or next Friday. Maybe we'll do that. I mean, to be fair, it might also work for next Friday, because I think it's next Friday when I'm doing the Santa stuff. Yes. Next week is Summer Santa, so we've got the rest of this week for any more Summer Santa stuff, and then next week, so actually next Friday, it might even work for them, because that day is going to be a bit of a weird day anyway, so we might just do that as playing those different games on that day. Yeah, anyway, cool. Right. Mana, I hope I've achieved what you wanted. I've tried to keep you know, I'm going to claim it now. I'm going to claim it and say I kept the stream going this long. It's nothing to do with you guys. It's all to do with me. And sorry, yeah, Mana, not much. Some people set out to make really impressive builds and go medieval. I can absolutely see why people do impressive builds and go medieval. That makes a lot of sense. In fact, I was actually talking when we last streamed Go Medieval of looking at all the different bricks, or look at all the different construction blocks that are in Going Medieval. I was thinking it might be kind of cool to make...
A new challenger has entered the arena.
1.9_TDI just followed.
Hi, thanks for the follow. I was thinking about making, with all the different blocks, maybe like as close as I could to an actual church. Because I think you could make something that would look very similar to like quite a gothic-y church. And so I was thinking about doing that. So if we do carry on with Going Medieval, that's going to be like the main focus, is trying to make a church that looks very gothic-y. And I think that would be very doable. I don't know. But yeah, 1.9. Really sorry, 1.9. We're literally about to finish the stream. We've done all our arting for the day, and we're literally about to finish the stream. So welcome into you. I hope you've been here for most of the stream. I hope you've been here for most of the stream and you've actually seen some of the artwork. Decided to follow to catch me next time. Fantastic. Well, in which case I will clarify. I just got in. Oh no. Oh. We do artwork. We do artwork stuff. Just we've got to the end. So in which case, yeah. Tomorrow, no stream tomorrow because I do real world things. Thursday, we will do artwork in the morning, and if by some miracle I've got on top of work, we might do some gaming in the afternoon. And then on Friday, we will do a double gaming day, which will most likely be Going Medieval. So yeah, that's that. Right, I've got to go. I've got to eat some food. I've got to get a load of work done. Thank you very much for everyone being here. UK based, yes. So on Thursday, UK time, on Thursday, I'll be streaming between 9 and 12. And on Friday, I'll be streaming between 9 and 5 in the afternoon. So it's a much longer stream on Friday. So yeah, that's all UK time based. Yeah, right. Okay. If you've been here, thank you very much. If you've been talking in chat, thank you even more. I've told you where I'll be. So whatever you choose to do with the rest of your day, I hope that you have a fantastic time. And until I next see you, until then, a goodbye.